Ahoy hoy all, Truss here, and welcome back to another Conquest Reforged video. Today in this video I am very excited to be able to show you and introduce you to my current main project, and that is the town of Riverton. And this began as a solo project but has become a team project as a collaboration between myself and a friend of mine called Scout and another friend of ours, Sil, who also has contributed to some of it. Now, this began as just my exploration of Conquest 1.16 because I was familiar with Conquest 1.12 and have been building that for the last couple of years, but Conquest 1.15 and 16 doubles the amount of blocks that Conquest 1.12 had. Now, you will have seen some of this town in a previous video when I was introducing this current version of the mod, but we have done considerable amounts since that video. Now, you will forgive me if you see some ugly wall planning blocks like that, so if you do see them, and when you do see them, please ignore them. But as I was explaining, this project began as just my exploration of using some of the new blocks that Conquest 1.16 offers, like that Corba block there. And then I did this house here, which was an attempt to copy one of the houses from Novigrad in The Witcher. And then I did another house, and it snowballed into a project which I decided would become part of my world of Tir na Druss, which is on the Darwin Reforged server. And this entire town will in time hopefully be ported to the Darwin Reforged server, which is my spiritual home. Now, as I said, it was a solo project, and this street here was entirely done by myself back before Scout joined. But so I would like to see it again. It is fair that we look at it as it is part of the town itself. And again, I was very, very satisfied with the way the street itself turned out and some of the facades on the street turned out. All houses, of course, are decorated inside and out, but I won't be doing interiors in this video. Now, so as we walk down the street here, you can see towards the end of there are two houses that Scout did, a bakery here and a house here. Now, as we explore through the town, you're going to see some blocks like this signpost here for the bakery that are provided for by the Victory mod by Filthycoin, and the Victory mod has really allowed us to add a whole new level of depth and immersion to the build, and we're really, really delighted with it. So thank you, Filthy, for doing such a wonderful mod. As we walk through here, I'm going to go quite slowly as my laptop isn't quite capable of running and playing on shaders at the same time, so I have to be quite slow. But you can see just some of the facades that I spent quite a bit of time on there. And again, this is the back of the house that Scout did, another house that Scout did earlier on in the build. Now, as you move forward, we'll be coming to one of the houses that Sil did, and that is this house here. And again, just is a lovely, lovely build. And we're coming down onto the main event of the video as such. Well, the main event of my part of the town. I have been working on the town square for the last 4 or 5 months, and while some of you who follow my streams will have seen the builds around this town square, you certainly won't have seen it filled, which is something myself and Scout have been working on for the last couple of weeks, and have now finally completed, and I am thrilled with the way it turned out. It really does show to me that collaboration is a far superior method of building than working on a solo project, because collaboration allows for a synergy where builds become greater than the sum of their parts, and what one builder does, another builder can see little ways to improve upon it, and that is what we have, I feel, achieved here. So again, this town square itself, one of the goals I had for it was to have an enclosed feel so that you wouldn't be able to see the exits from it too easily, and I think we have achieved that. As I said, the buildings around the town square were largely done by myself, with the exception of one or two, like this building in front of us here. This is going to be the courthouse and was built by Scout initially, and then Sil modified it somewhat and added her own little flair to it. So as I said, again, it's just a really, really nice team build. And the town square has all manner of stalls. It's a festival day and has all manner of stalls around it that hopefully give an atmosphere of hustle and bustle. And the town square is centered around a great tree. There's, as this build that Scout and Sil did between them, will be the courthouse, so it made sense to have the area for capital punishment on front of that, and the area is going to be a gallows, and there is a small stocks here that criminals that aren't deserving of death but are deserving of some punishment have to be imprisoned within, and people have the opportunity to throw rotten fruit at them and that sort of thing. The town square itself is one of the wealthier areas in the town, so has a lot of commercial buildings like a bank here, and there is a Thosa, which is an Irish civic building over here, and most of the buildings around, there are one or two residential, but most of the buildings in the town square have a civic function. For example, this is a bank, as I mentioned, and I decorated this largely on a stream a week or two ago, but completed it off streaming. So I completed some of the things like the vault down here off the stream, and I had a lot of fun doing it too, that you can see the gold reserves and the bullion that the bank has. So yeah, no, hopefully a lot to explore. For the goal is that this whole city and this whole project will be ported over to Darwin Reforged when it is possible to do that, and it will become somewhere that people can visit and explore themselves. But hopefully it has turned out to be a build that's interesting to explore and that's fun to visit. I certainly have had a lot of fun building it, and I think Scout has had a lot of fun in building the area she has done, and again, she did help out a huge amount with the square itself, so, and with the festival within the square itself. And Sil, of course, has helped a lot too. I'll showcase one or two of the buildings Sil has done just now. So these buildings we're looking at and we're coming up to here are two of Sil's, and wonderful they are too, just lovely in detail. And Sil really excels at doing little details like this courtyard here, and the vista that it allows to the building that I had done previously is just fantastic, and I love it. So yes, as I mentioned, that is the town square that I've been working on and has been occupying my time within building for the past couple of months. But soon time to move on to the next part of the project, which will be to determine the town limits and the city walls. But it has been a joy to do this, and hopefully it has turned out to be a relatively okay and a relatively alright build, I suppose. But now I think it is time to go and visit the area Scout has been focusing on and spending most of her time on, and we'll visit that now. So here we are at the area Scout was building. Now, whilst I was spending my time building the town square and building the richer area, Scout has been focusing on the area towards the river and down towards the river, and has done a fantastic job in what she has achieved here. It really does. It's meant to be a slightly poorer area, and it really does look like that. And she's come up with some really wonderful innovations, like the use here of using carpet blocks as a way of painted panels, that sort of thing. And there are all sorts of those innovations within the build. I probably will miss 3/4 of them, but we will hopefully come to them in future videos when we find them. So again, this is coming towards the riverfront here, and the river will flow through here, but it hasn't been quite done yet. But again, Scout is expert at organics, and therefore has decorated lots of little back gardens, and which will be filled with vegetables and that sort of thing. Now, what I love mostly about the area that Scout has done is that there are lots of little alleyways to force you to explore. But then if you do explore them, and this little narrow alleyway here, for example, you come out onto wider areas and little town squares that are a far cry from the one you've just seen in my part of the town that I was focusing on. But these are really, really well done and have lovely little features, like a little area here, a little house that is accessible here from this little back door that you walk up onto and can explore there. Now again, it's all work in progress, so please ignore any planning signs you do see or that are making their way into the video, and the ugly wool, that sort of thing. But if you look here, just really, really beautiful atmosphere in the buildings that she's done. Now we'll walk out towards the blacksmiths and then down towards the river. Just really, really, really a joy to walk down. Now we're walking here, we're coming up to a small stables, and across from the stables is the blacksmiths, and Scout did a wonderful job in decorating and building this blacksmiths. As you can see, the forge here just looks really, really well and is essentially exactly as you would expect to see from a blacksmith's of a medieval town in a medieval time. And remember, this world of Tir na Drus that Riverton, the city of Riverton, will be part of, is a high fantasy world, and again will have lots and lots of different sorts of builds, but this town itself is a kind of a human medieval city, so we've drawn lots of inspiration from different fantasy worlds and fantasy series, that sort of thing, and I'm sure Scout did as well. So we have a crane just to hoist cargo up and down from boats, and this fantastic bridge that's canopied here by a house was built by Scout and is a customs building and is here to stop cargo and stop freight from going downriver, and it will then, once it stops the river traffic, it will charge excise and customs on the cargoes that are within those ships and that sort of thing. So yeah, again, really, really, really fantastically done, and some beautiful interiors done by Scout as well. And again, this, because it's a civic building, really, here's the offices of where the ship captains come to declare their goods and that sort of thing. So yeah, again, just really, really, really atmospheric and beautiful. And this area here will eventually, and fairly hopefully soon, join on to the area of the square, which you can see in the background. But just absolutely really gorgeous, and it has been a privilege to work with Scout and Sil on doing this project. So there we have it. It has been a short tour, but I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love feedback on how you think we are doing. But until next time, stay frosty and goodbye.